And last time that helped Echo. Let's see if I'm gonna have a helping hand again. NSCG Tigers, Tameside Devastators, Echo, Cairo, Icebox, take it away.
Well, yeah, let's head into this game, Cairo. We're already in the first map. These agents have been selected, and we've got some interesting picks. Look what work has on the board here.
Honestly, it's an absolute throwback to when we first saw Icebox come in. The Reyna was so dominant. What was it? The Reyna, Reyna, Jet, Sova, Viper, and I think Sage. So that's like that throwback to that comp almost. And the fact that Fade's kind of coming in here for both teams is going to be really interesting for how this match works out.
Icebox is the retake map, and actually that looks like exactly what the Tameside Devastators are set up to do. They have their Fade and they have Ketsa up here on screens, but they've been decayed down to essentially 5 HP. A sneeze would kill them, but they find the first kill themselves. They take out Swerve the Reyna, taken off of the board, but it is Faded Quains takes them out, and well, the spike isn't down, but Dark Raven is.
Yeah, exactly, already gone off the board. There's a flank inbound potentially from this Jet. Oh, well, maybe not anymore, as we see the kill feed light up with their name, unfortunately, on the wrong end of that. It's now up to Spicy and Envy to try and retake in towards this. The Haunt just not exactly getting the information, but I'll tell you what, the players who with their pistols are finding the frags and they need to. It's down to 2 versus 1. 2 players against the world. Can they do it this time? Maybe not so, as the Haunt goes out, just misses out on the Sage. But Rolf does not miss out on that Sage.
The Haunt was so perfect there, Cairo. That little bit of distraction, that little bit of doubt in the mind of that Sage player, and Rolf just perfectly taking advantage of that. And well, Cairo, we were wrong to start with. Tigers, they got the first round on the board, and they're gonna be able to buy up here. But look at what Kiro has. They have the Marshall, and we talked before about how good that is on these buy rounds after the pistol. And if they can win this anti-eco, it's going to keep on running into their favour.
More interested on Rolf's Guardian here. I mean, obviously, they've got the added investment of a heavy shield just to protect the Guardian. And that can really start to find picks here as the bullets. There you go. Already the Guardian and the kill feed picking up Spicy.
Yeah, Spicy getting taken down, and one less person for the defender, one less classic for the defenders as well. The flash comes through. Okay, we're already through that wall. Reigns is going to be looking for something. The Haunt doesn't find anything, but Ketsa does fall as well, and it's just down to the spray from the Spectre. Classic, even if it's a pretty one, can't do too much damage at that range. And well, 2 people left, and Cairo, honestly, this feels like the end of the round already.
It certainly does. Only 1 player left, and it was the Jet that tried to flank last time already. Seems as if the Tigers have got set up on this post plant so well, and that may be something to keep watching out for, as Lannox does get on towards that chamber. It's a nice pick, but already things are starting to close down, and that Guardian again popping up in the kill feed.
Yeah, this is why the Guardian pick is so good, right? 2 body shots just gets you that kill really easily. The Sheriff, they have to hit a headshot in order to find anything good with that. And the good thing for Rolf is that Guardian is still good going into this bonus round. If you can hit a headshot with that, regardless of the shields on the opposing side, it can net you that win. Better than a Phantom, even. And it's got better first accuracy than a Vandal. So we'll have to see exactly what happens. Obviously, they have Kuro, has their Vandal, so they've got a chance. But the Tigers, they have slightly worse weaponry, slightly worse in terms of their utility as well. But this time they're heading up towards the B side, and there's some aggression from Lannox. Look where they're posted up.
Oh no, able to get on towards 1 already, tailwinding out of there. Oh, that fragment just misses out and they're on such low HP. They may have just missed out on this Jet. They may have just put themselves into their own grave as Lannox is able to get 3. Oh no, Spicy's close by. The players of NSCG Tigers have just completely fallen into the wayside, and it's only up to the Viper now of Emmy.
And they've got to find a way into one of the sides, or at least to save this Vandal, but both sides are being cornered. Spicy has yellow locked down, and mid, they know that no one has pushed it because this chamber of the Devastators has just that perched up by themselves and Emmy. They're not making noise. There's still an unknown quantity here.
Oh, they're rotating away.
All the Devastators. Yeah, but Spicy's still there. Spicy just peeks that little bit extra.
Oh, That's so unfortunate. An opportunity was given to Emmy, but Spicy able to capitalise in that 1 versus 1. Alright, at the same time, that was just a bonus round for Tigers. Yeah, they got wiped out, but there was also a kind of one-off play from the Devastators. I imagine the Tigers will not allow that to happen again. The fact that they were posted up in such a kind of off spot there. Now, looking at this, it seems to be another just hit A, and I mean, I'm getting flashbacks to old Icebox already.
It does feel like that, right? Just bounce between the two sites and hope that it keeps on working. But we're seeing aggression come out from Lanix again. They're not over on green this time. Now they're on pipes, and they see one. They can't get the pick. So close to dash away, and Ketsa actually ends up getting it as well. They're trying to halt the Tigers, trying to make these scared little cats. And while it's working so far, Fragment, it's going to signify that they're still wanting to go this way, but they're not pushing too aggressively.
Yep, already cleared that close right corner. That's a nice updraft just to make people think about the angles. Although one of the angles just being found out, finding that Fade player up above. Finally, Rolf will get taken down. Oh no, the Viper and the Util gets found. It's 4 versus 3 right now. At the same point, all it needs to do is pick to go either way, and things could completely be taken up. And that is going to go the way of the Devastators. They're up 2 players. Oh, the spike's down as well. They need to try and retake in towards Spicy. This flash drive doesn't go out. They're going to dry peek it, and they're going to get taken out. It's now all up towards Emmy once again with a Vandal in hand. What can they do?
Oh, I don't think they can do anything. They might be able to get a pick, but no! The push from Lanix into jail takes them out, and the Devastators, they even this up, and the economy is already going to be swinging in their favour quite heavily here. As we will get an okay buy from most of the Tigers, but not too good. And there's ultimates on the board, though. We have both the Null Command and the Nightfall coming out from the Tigers, and both of these 2 Initiator ultimates. Initiator ultimates are some of the most powerful in this game, and if they utilise these correctly, whether it's to take the site or whether it's to stop the retake back in the post plant, that is how they want to be winning if they can take the site in the first place. And this time, they're not going to a site. This is the third option, Cairo. They're going mid.
They certainly are. Lanix just got a quick peek and then hit the face with all the utility. Oh no, Dark Raven though. With that Viper Orb just up there denying any sort of angle. Any push through, but it's a push through in towards Kitchen. The Prowler expires, but they are going to find the trademark. But oh no, the Chamber's going to find Rolf. It's just a matter of hide and seek at these points, and I'll tell you what, there's no player hiding at this point, as there's all the kill feed lighting up. It's 3 versus 3, the Spike's still stuck in Kitchen, and there's a player from behind. It's all turning into a bloodbath, and these players fall by the wayside.
Dark Raven just perfectly positioning themselves in that mid. We saw early on, right, with that Viper's Orb, with the Snakebite as well, trying to push everyone from the Tigers up into Tube, and that's exactly what they were doing. And then as soon as they realised that all 5 members were pushing up that way, they pushed themselves up the back. This lurk from the Viper, taking map control and getting those 2 final picks, crucial for the Devastators there. And we're seeing an operator buy here for Ketsa. They've got the Tour de Force online for next round as well, so they can afford to buy up the defenders. This is looking really strong for them.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the Chamber being able to hold things down, and actually they've adapted and moved the Chamber on towards B long. The fact that they can rotate quicker with that rendezvous. They've cleared out the close angles here, Tigers, though. With that 0 point, the Tameside Devastators seem to know what's going on. They'll need to find out exactly where this Sage is, and they have done as they've seen the Tracers. They're going to get vulnerable after that snake bite, and they're just going to get picked up.
Yeah, Dark Raven trading it out though. They're still trying to keep themselves in this defense, and Kyra goes down to Lanix, keeping their team alive. They're suppressed, but they're still able to find some kills, but they can't find that one. Drains in the perfect angle on the back of Bryce inside that Viper's pit. And here we see the Nightfall as well, trying to keep this offense going, but the Queen's gets taken down. The spam, both sides, the Vipers trying to do what they can, but the spike isn't down. Dark Raven's not able to get it down, and eventually they can. Emmy wins it out, gets the spike down, evens us up here. That Viper's pit was exactly what the Tigers needed there to keep themselves in.
It was such a scrappy round as well, all in all, with the way that it played out. I guess Lanark's going hunting in the Viper's pit. somewhat cost the Devastators. I mean, there was no util to support there. I get, and that's the problem. You need that utility to support your duelist. And I guess going hunting in a Viper's pit, you know what's going to happen there. Echo, me and you have both played comp, and I know so many times I've tried to do the kind of eagle play and it's not worked out. This time, though, at least the Devastators have a lot of ultimates to play with.
Yeah, the defenders, they can lock down so many of these sites. They have the Viper's Pit themselves, which can just completely, as we saw before, shut down access to a site. The knife does fall, though, across all of A site, and no one is found. So we're seeing the rotations coming through relatively quickly from the Devastators, as Ketzer is being pushed here on this chamber. They were playing anti-flash. They've got the Phantom there. They're looking for one. They find one. They back off. This is why chamber is so free. The rotation off the rendezvous. It's still there, though. Does get destroyed. Pretty quick, but Lanix pops the knives. They can pop over the top of that Viper's wall if they feel like they want to with that updraft and try and get a pick here.
5 seconds extra on that rendezvous cooldown now. You are going to see already a Prowler going to try and clear the close corners, but they didn't actually find out the chamber. And they can just hide in this close corner. Swerve needs to be available, needs to be ready. Lanix with the updraft, that's huge. Ketzer pops out. At least they get traded, but the thing is, though, the person advantage has already been taken by 2 for the Tameside Devastators, and the damage potentially already been done. The operator looking to be saved as Dark Raven takes out Swerve. Now, Kira, what can you do here? Oh, you can at least get one. The last remaining players now going to try to hunt you down. The Prowler just denying the lines of sight. They've found the player, they've found the head, but they can't quite actually capitalise on it.
And honestly, this is just down to Kura. They're not going to win this round. I think they're fully aware of that, but they might be able to get a kill. No, Spicy there, perfect. Playing off of the contact of their jet there. That's some quite high level play that we don't see a lot of the time. So this is some, we know that both of these teams, they have these good fundamentals down to a T, and if they continue to do that, that is what's going to kind of show the difference between these two teams, is these fundamentals coming up from both of them.
Well, it seems as if we are going to get pots and pans for the side of NSCG Tigers. In terms of the buy, things aren't looking quite good. They do have eco though, and that's the good thing that they can take away from it. They're forcing up a Spectre here, so maybe cause a bit of bother. But I mean, it might just turn out just to be bother to win out this round. And yep, it's already been proven. Lanix aggressively finding 2, maybe even 3. Already the shotty comes out. How?
You've got to try, right? Like, if you're suppressed, you can't dash away. You've got to do something. But the Phantom is now picked up by Rolf. This is crucial here, Cairo. As soon as this haunt goes down, if they realise where NVEU is, which they do, they know their back sight now, they can start to decide what to do as a team. But this Viper's Pit in mid, we haven't talked about it yet this round. That shuts down everything. And actually, the Tigers, they don't want to push A. But it's tricky to push anywhere else right now.
Yeah, especially with it, the space has been taken away from them. Like, the Devastators have so much information on what the Tigers want to do here. Can't push mid. If you push B, then that's going to be shouted out by the Fade. Now you just have to push the site, try and find something. With Rolf such on low HP, they can easily get mowed down. And, yep. But the thing is, though, Emmy pushing up here. Envy knows. They just line it up, find the frag. Another player close by, they're on low HP as well. This could potentially be 1 bullet for 2. No, it's only going to be 1. So 2 players taken out with 1 spray. And now it's all up to Cranes.
Yeah, and honestly, they are in between a rock and a hard place, or a toxic pit, I guess. But they're here right now, and honestly, this is perfect from the Devastators. They know they have the advantage in their favour, and they're not making any mistakes. Right now, a lot of times we see teams think, okay, we have 4 people alive, there's 1 of them, we can go push aggressively and get this pick. But they're playing perfectly by not doing that. They're not letting any advantage swing in the favour of the Tigers, and, well, unless Envy peeks out into this, no, Cranes doesn't even know they're there, so they've got the Sheriff, they might find something. Envy gets a pick.
I guess that's another ultimate orb in towards their pocket, but the res is already up and available. I think, if anything, at least gives the Tigers a little bit of, I guess, bonus in terms of the economy with that pick getting taken out. It still doesn't look great. At least we are going to see the Chamber have that tour de force, so it's maybe not as bad as what one thinks initially. But the thing is, though, you've still got to go up against an operator, all these rifles, and it still doesn't look amazing.
No, it really doesn't. But the tour de force for the Tigers, this is going to tip the scales into their favour even more. They have the Reina as well, the Empress, if they want to go for something aggressive like that. But for now, they're going to set up nice and aggressively with that tour de force. Can't find anything though. This is good defensive play, and oh, they're walking to Ketsu's loving arms, but no! Kuroa gets it. Ketsu was looking at the wrong place, and Cairo almost another pick there, but Envy. What? They were near sided the flash coming through as well, but we saw that didn't matter for them before. They're looking for it and they get it. Envy,
oh, no.
so clean.
It's just unfortunate in that situation. And look at this. Dark Raven gets the timing, gets a pick. That's massive. There goes Kirawa. And that op's going to stay safe now because it's firmly in the hands of the defenders. Now the spike trying to be rotated, no one to engage in from mid at the time being. And the space already being taken away by Rolf as they move through this B-long situation. Thing is though, talk about situations, there's going to be one here. They swing out high and wide, Lanix is just so much better. They've just popped up in the kill feeds time and time again. At least Emmy's able to get one back. The one more off the Viper's pitch, which can make things extremely awkward, especially if they get that spike down. That's the thing here. Prowler does try and search them out and doesn't get caught out by it. And look at this time, 20 seconds left. The two players are stacking up with one another, and that's going to be massive for them. They're now going to be able to move through this angle together. And it's going to make things so much harder for Emmy. How are they going to try and engage on this? It doesn't seem as if it's going to work out as the timing between these two players as the haunt goes out. Dark Raven moves especially on towards it. They think they're on Snowman, but they're not. They're behind and they're going to find that frag. They're going to make things impossible now because they're able to dip out. It's like a ghost in the night. Can you find this last remaining player? Spices are very, very close by. You don't even know. He's behind you. Can Emmy find it? Oh, they're just waiting for the swing. They're just waiting for the tap. Waiting for this moment. But Spicy wins out.
Heart is in my throat right now, Kyra. That was so close. Brilliant play as well from the Viper to not go in Snowman. That would be where a lot of people would go to choose, or would choose to go, but they didn't. They hid around that back of that box. They can hear the tap right as soon as the spike starts to get defused. That's when you peek off of it, and that was just perfect play. A little bit early peek at the end there. Unfortunately, lost them that fight, but the Devastators, they're going up 6-3. And like I said, 3, it's not the end of the world. Even on a map like Icebox, where if you play the defender side right, if you play this retake side right, the Tigers, they still have a very good chance in this half and going into the next as well. But full rifles, full shields for most of these players, and some ultimates on the board. We've still not seen this Empress be used from the Tigers. I want to see what this Reyna can do.
Yeah, exactly. The Reyna bringing that fragging power.
Ooh!
What a shot from Rolf. Already taking out Envy. There's going to be no reses in this round specifically. As the haunt already comes through, and so does all the utility. Look at this. They're already trying to take this site by force, and by force they will. It's the success it seems to be, as they are going to see that Empress and the Viper's Pit invested. Site firmly in the hands of these Tigers players.
Oh, Ketsa. No such luck. The Prowler is going to latch onto one, but doesn't find the kill, and the headshot comes through from Cranes, but Spicy trades it out, and they're still looking for more. Spicy, we've seen what they can do. They can do well in these clutch situations. They know close is clear, but there's a flank coming through. Rolf.
Oh no.
Going through mid. There's 2 people in this Viper split, and there's 1 in mid, and Rolf just perfect timing. Cairo. These Fade players are so good.
They're fantastic, and they're showing us it every single time. Tameside Devastators have the comfortability that I guess that the next half they're at least going in even. And Icebox should be happy with that, but pardon me, in terms of how the Devastators have been playing, I don't know if they'd be happy with even. They're going to be wanting more and more. Ultimate's starting to come online once again as the Nightfall's one off for Spicy, Knife's one off for Lanix, and you already have a res and a tour de force. I think this could still fall by the wayside for the Tigers.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they've got the Sage, right? But the Sage is so good at these defensive sides from both the Resurrect, which they've got, and the Wall, if they can get that up in time to try and slow down, or if you get into a retake situation, if you get that down, it makes these retakes so easy. But the post-plant's been so good, and so have these pushes. Swerve, the Law Command coming through. Flash finds nothing. Swerve still looking, but Brains is caught out with the utility, and it does get faded, and the Resurrect's going to come through.
Yeah, stabilising that core, getting the player back online, keeping the person advantage at this time. Envy will get Cranes though, finally finishing them off, and Dark Raven with a nice swing. Look at this, Devastators are devastating their opponents on the retake. They're inside the Viper's orb. Is Emmy going to be able to survive? They're on towards the rope, but they were surrounded. And now, that was a lovely retake from Devastators.
Yeah, and that retake is exactly what we want to be seeing from them. And it was just a little bit down to quite passive play from the Tigers. What I was talking about just before that push started out is Tigers. they've been playing really aggressively in this post part, and that makes the retake so much trickier. But when you're playing passive, it means that actually you give out so much space to the Devastators, and that's why Icebox is such a retake-sided map, right? We're actually seeing a timeout here, Cairo. These teams, they want to discuss it. Tigers, they want to go into this 7-5, because that's so much better than going into it as an 8-4.
Yeah, and that's 100% the biggest factor here, is the fact that we are looking down the barrel of a gun of 8-5. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness gracious me, can I get my words out? We're looking down the barrel of 8-4 here, and that's a massive advantage. The good thing is, at least, and maybe on the other half, we might see Tigers come back into it. It might just be that kind of defender bias, especially when you look towards what the Devastators have in terms of a double sentinel setup. You'd expect them to favour that defensive side. They'll have so much more control. Right enough, if I remember back, I'm not seeing much use of that barrier orb. The point still stands. And with the Tigers looking at this, they're thinking, guys, we need to at least get in towards 7-5. And I totally understand why they're sitting down and looking at this, especially after how that retake went in that last round.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. And I think you're right. We're not seeing that barrier orb coming out just enough. If we keep on seeing it more, it slows down the Tigers. And yes, they have the double initiator. Yes, they have the potential of the Reyna to just pop off and win an entire round like Reyna does. But Devastators, they also got time to talk there. They also got time to decide, to plan, to strategize. And the tour de force comes out. So does the Knives. Lannox going aggressively into mid, but what? How did they? What?
That is unreal. That is sensational. If Lannox decided to push aggressively there, they could have found the Viper out as well. There's been an initial prod in towards A, and well, the Devastators seem to have somewhat raid into it a little bit. I think they're just trying to find out the information. That Prowler being destroyed is the information that they need, though, and they've just set up and went into more of a default 2-1-2, 2 players on either side and 1 player in mid just to control it. Tigers need to find a pick, and they need to find something.
Yeah, but Devastators, they're playing so passive, other than Dark's Raven, who actually falls. Now the advantage, actually, despite the fact it's 4v4, the advantage is in the Tigers' favour for the first time in quite a few rounds, and they're realizing where these rotations are going. They're realizing where everyone is going. And they're pushing the spike back over towards the B site. And Cairo, this is exactly where they need to be going. If they can get the spike down over there, they can win out quite easily because there's no Viper for the Devastators. But Lannox just takes out Rolf.
Oh, that's a nice flash drive. It's just going to push Lannox off the angle, though. The Viper wall has been committed. Now straight on towards the B site. The Prowler not getting the information that they need. We are going to see that layer, though. And it's just not going to allow anybody to push through the smoke, get aggressive. Spike initiated. Remember, that person advantage is still in the hands of the Devastators. The trades, they don't go advantageous towards Tigers. And with the spike down, it's all but over. It is an 8-4 half here, and Lannox finishes it off in style.
That is why you have a player like Lannox, right? That is exactly why. You want someone like that on a duelist, especially a duelist that has the capability of getting out of there as quick as possible, of escaping, of saving themselves, come in stronger later on in the round. 15-8 right now for the Jet player, 10-5 for Spicy. The Devastators have been so good at keeping their players alive and getting frags when possible, playing around the advantage, the inherent advantage that they have at different points in the game. And we'll have to see if Tigers, they're on the defense now. They have double initiative, and that is so good on the defense. Try and slow down these pushes and try and find out the information to get your rotates in as quick as possible.
Now, looking at the what's going to happen here, I think this pistol round is going to be absolutely pivotal here for Tigers in terms of the momentum that they can build up. That's a lovely 0-point knife. So much information, but it's whether we see Tigers rotate off that, and they have. If Devastators rotate back towards A, they could really catch these players off guard.
They could, but they've still got the Haunt available over on the A side. I imagine we're going to be seeing that being thrown relatively quickly to see if it was a fake. And it spots no one over there.
Yeah. That's Viper wall down on A. Sorry. Just
no, it's a fake.
Yeah, exactly. That could buy them some time here. And the players are starting to read into this a little bit. But maybe the Tigers are starting to double guess themselves, because the Reyna that was moving over has moved back towards Boiler. And I don't think the Tigers have any idea of what's actually happened here, but they will now, as they've caught Lannox out with that 0-point.
Yeah, Dark Raven falls as well, but Ketsa in a perfect position. The rendezvous is going to catch them. They're going to be aware that someone is in kitchen, but the site is relatively clear itself.
No
and
way.
Ketsa gets the pick. The communication not there off the back of the rendezvous. Chamber didn't communicate that well, and it's now down to Cranes. But Ketsa's still up in kitchen. Takes down Swerve, and they live to fight another day. And they're just going to be able to play so perfectly off this flank, off this lurk, and Tigers are not in for a good round here.
Doesn't look lately. Ketsa brewing up a storm in kitchen and going to continue to do so, compounding the pain. That's more and more kills on towards 4. Is it going to be an ace? No, it's not. But the thing is, though, they still have to face up against 3, and that's just so unfortunate. Well played by Tameside Devastators, just to slowly, I guess, beat out their opponents, and Tigers, they just didn't know if they were coming or going.
Yeah, that was really, like I say, really nice play. They were giving a little bit of information over with the knife, maybe allowing the Hawk not to find anyone, just to, like I say, set that doubt in the mind of the Tigers, make sure that they don't know exactly what they can do or what they should do. And it's such a good way of going. But I mean, looking at this buy right now, Cairo, Waxon is going to be very happy with this. I'll say that now. That was 4 shorties on the board. Waxon, I hope you're enjoying this.
I imagine Waxon's just excitedly bobbing about in the seat, waiting to see exactly what's going to happen. In terms of what's happening on the site, the Reyna pushing up so aggressively. This is where the Initiators are going to get their massive payout. Dark Raven, though, pushes through. Oh my goodness gracious. That's 2 picks already. Straight through. 1 from mid. But the thing is, though, Rolf gets on towards Lannox. I think that was only a Spectre that was down, though, and that's going to be good. Dark Raven getting a spike down on a vertical position allows that post plant to be a bit stronger potentially if they try to get on towards the spike. Ketsa just watching them towards mid, finds out that chamber, and remember they only have a shorty, so things aren't going to be that great for this long range battle. If another swing comes through like it does, it's just a collection of the head. 1 player remaining, they only have a classic. What can they do? They can right click, that's what they can do. Nice frag. The thing is though, the last remaining players, they still have full HP, they still have full shields, and they still have better weaponry.
Yeah, and with that better weaponry, it's just so tricky. Unless Cranes can shut down all of this space quickly, the siege slows it down a little bit more. At this point, they need to not give over the ultimate points and just try and die to the spike. Maybe get a pick on the way out if they can. They're looking for it, but Envy does pick it up themselves. And Tameside, they pick up their 10th round of the game. Obviously, they were expected to win that, right? That was the anti-eco in their favour. But with how good they've been performing so far, I'm honestly a little bit in their favour. Or the bonus as well.
I think there's an interesting factor going in towards this bonus as well here, Echo. Is that Tour de Force is actually online for Ketsa. The fact that they were able to get so many frags that they've got the Tour de Force online makes this, again, a very hard run for Tigers. The good thing, again, obviously, the rifles are there. It's all about these engagements.
Yeah, but actually, I think Kuroa actually has a shorty. Oh, they get pushed out the angle. They're holding on yellow now, and the Tour de Force isn't too useful until we get the spike down at this point in the game, unless Kuroa goes for a Persian. It seems like they're going to.
Oh, no.
Just a shorty.
Yeah. Kuroa just really playing things in an awful, well, not an awful way, but playing it in a really interesting way, making things difficult. I mean, Tameside just walking with trepidation here, not wanting to get caught out. And the players of Devastators are slowly moving towards A, but the spike's still on B.
They dropped it.
Interesting.
Oh, but that 0 point takes the Tour de Force out of the hands of the chamber, at least for the next 6 or 7 seconds. And oh, Hemi almost got caught out. Dark Raven looking for something, but the Vandal is just so much better. And although the spike is down, Envy is going to pick this up, and then yep, they're going to be rotating over towards the A side. It's completely empty as well, Cairo. If they can take a little bit of mid control, they can push over towards the A side. Wait, the Tour de Force. Emmy.
Oh no. Oh, lucky. Saved by the bell almost. The thing is, though, is the Tigers haven't read in towards this at all. They haven't looked at and thought, there's no information, guys. Maybe try and set back towards a more default style. At least the Haunt is not going to catch anybody. In fact, it does. Just towards the left, the terror trail going off. Oh no, that's a lovely pickup. And as you said, the time is just too much. The spike carrier taken out as they try to get aggressive. It's not going to work. The players just looking for picks now and to lose all the weapons that they had.
Oh, and Ketzer almost finds that pick there at the end, but they just miss it. And Cairo, what you mentioned their default, and it seems like exactly what the Devastators are wanting to play here, right? They want to play this slow defaulty style, and when you've got something like a Sage, it allows you to kind of build up towards that defaulty style, get the wall down, get a safe plant going. But we haven't seen that coming out, and their defaults haven't been looking for space, haven't been looking for information. They've just been holding passive, and we need to see a little bit more aggression, like we've seen from their site executes, to really see them pop off here. And we're seeing a good buy round from both sides, right? That was the bonus coming out from the Devastators on that round. And that's a beautiful headshot.
Yeah, I mean, you know those Gordon Ramsay's kitchen nightmares. I think it's Ketz's kitchen nightmares at this moment in time as they keep pushing through that mid position and finding players. Kira on that short, he finds Lannox, and they're going to be feeling pretty sore after that one. But now the post plan begins. Tour de Force is going to be propped here all the way back on Snowman, waiting for the Viper's wall to drop. But the thing is, though, you need to watch out for that flank. There is some problems lurking in that back line, but it's when this retake is actually initiated, when the trigger is pulled, that we will see fireworks start to fly.
Yeah, and the fireworks they need to work here for the Tigers, but it's so tricky to have this post plant in it to Icebox. The Tour de Force finds a pick. Ketzer falling their opposing number, and the spike's being stuck. They're not faking it. Throws don't fake, and well, the Tigers bring up a brilliant round there, despite the fact there was 2 people remaining. As the spike was defused from the side of Devastators, they weren't on that spike, and 6 on the board.
6 on the board, and I'm now making things work. Tameside Devastators, I'm not calling it just yet. I don't think they've caught the pistol fever. But all I'm saying is it's looking likely after those last 2 rounds. And when you look towards this round, I mean, you lost a lot of rifles after those engagements, and then you're not going to get the win bonus either. So now, things slowly but surely start to look rough. Not too rough, as there is 3 rifles kicking about, but it is starting to look worse for wear.
It is, but they have the Headhunter as well. The Null Command coming out though on the defense really early, and actually they get a good pick off the back of it. Rolf getting taken down, and that's going to be, for now, the defense. They're not feeling too good. The Null Command ends, and it only stalled for about 20 seconds there, Kyrie. They didn't get the full value because no one was actually pushing, and Ketzer somehow the Headhunter finds the body. Swerve falls, and there's 3 people on the defense.
Yeah, exactly, and now when you look towards what's happening here, Tigers just gifting a few of those engagements, unfortunately. Swerve, obviously, on the arena. You've got to be feeling yourself. You've got to be going for those engagements, but maybe not in that situation. Maybe wait for the post plan. Lannox just firing away a couple of pot shots. And the thing is, though, that Prowler's going to find the Viper. It's so rough to try and swing out into. They're going to get taken out exactly at that moment in time. And the last 2 remaining players of these Tigers, well, they'll need to go out with a roar here because it's going to be a tough post plan.
Especially when you lose Cranes there. Dark Raven gets the plant down. It's just down to Karua. We know they can hit shots, but they don't find that one. Dark Raven takes them out, and flawless. A flawless there, Pyro. As soon as we start to see a little bit of weakness, Devastators, they adapt, they overcome, and they just beat that out of the Tigers.
I love how, like, I was like, oh, maybe, just maybe, we're seeing the Devastators starting to feel that pistol fever. We're seeing the Tigers come back into it, and they're like, well, there's only one way to answer back. We may as well go flawless on this one.
They heard you.
Yeah, exactly. They heard me on the cast. They're listening, and they're like, this caster's talking nonsense. I think, as well, the fact that they made it work with, I guess, disadvantageous weaponry. I mean, they only had 3 rifles on that last one. I mean, it really shows how good Devastators can be. And Tigers now, well, they'll have to be good on their own, especially when they've only got Stingers and the like.
Well, they did find a lot of information off both that 0 point and off of the Haunt, coming from both their initiators. That's exactly why you want them on the defense. And that Haunt finds nothing actually. Swerve just avoiding it. And almost on backside, the Prowler reveals their location. Oh, and the spam comes through. 2 fall, and the Tigers fall off of the side. The spike goes down. The wall goes up as well. Just try and slow down this retake. And Swerve gets spammed down. Lannox holding aggressively, going even more aggressive now as well. It's taken out. Pretty good on their kills so far. 2 versus 3 here.
Yeah, an enemy retaken through mid has found a rifle of their own. With Kiro just being dropped low HP on 45. It's whether they can find the angle, the player that was just hiding under that barrier orb, it's not going to be. It's now going to be even harder as time is really starting to tick away here. They're really starting to lose out. Envy just blocking on sight. finding one more, that's all they need to do. There's only Emmy, they're going to see the shoulder, and the player's now aware of this situation. The player's trying to take the engagement. It was Viper on Viper, but I'll tell you what, it's only Devastators to win out.
Yeah, and they take us up to match point here, Kyra. They do lose Envy, but they've got more than enough cash, and we're seeing another timeout here. Honestly, I don't blame them. This is exactly the time the Tigers need to stop the momentum. That's what some of these timeouts are used for, right? Stop the momentum and start to decide yourself how you can try and bring it back. Match point. They need to win 6 more just to get us to OT and Cairo. Do you think they can do it?
I think they can. I think Tigers have shown us some pretty good retakes. They've shown us some pretty good defenses all in all. I think the problem is, and it seems to be a problem that all teams face when they're playing in the kind of shoot at champs, is it's just that little bit of eagerness to take the gunfights. I get it, it's an FPS game, but there's the tactical element as well. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more resilient and just kind of sitting back. And I'm thinking more on my head. I'm thinking more of like the Swift swinging out in that 3v5. Yes, you have to try and hunt for kills, but sometimes you're better just to wait. And it's that patience that I want to be seen from these young players.
No, I exactly agree. It all comes down to what we've seen from Tameside Devastators. Is they've been having that patience, that discipline, that they're playing the advantage that they gain throughout various methods over the course of these rounds. And on this attacking side, I mean, obviously it's match point. This is quite heavily in favour of the Devastators. Just looking at the buy here, Cranes can't even buy up a rifle, but ultimates as well here, Cairo.
Yeah, it's ultimates that can really turn the tide. And the fact that Devastators have an ultimate advantage will be potentially the ultimate advantage in this round. That flash drive just catches Spicy out, but not for too long. The player's now getting aggressive. Lanix and Ketzer, it's surgical at this point. They're able to cut the players that were causing them problems. Although Lanix gets aggressive up towards the rafters position. Emmy's found that, and no one's found out Rolf just yet. That Siege just above their head. Oh, the shoulder just peeking out there, and the players line up, but not in the way that they want it. The barrier ob again delaying. Emmy firing off the snake bites, the head peeks out and collects. One player left. It's up to Kirawa to save the Tigers' hopes in this matchup specifically, and they're making a good effort of it. But not for long, as the Devastators devastate the Tigers, and they go out with a whimper.
Honestly, that was just such a good showing on that attacking side from the Tameside Devastators. Their defense looked extremely strong. They maybe weren't utilizing everything perfectly, but they just showed such good team coordination. I mean, just looking at the leaderboard there, right? They've got their Jet, they've got their Chamber, both at the top of the leaderboard. Two score separate on average combat score, and that is just what it comes down to. But well, Waxen, welcome back. You got to see 4 shorties. Only 1 shorty kill, but you saw 4 shorties.
A judge, last round judge. I think that was the reason, that it was just too late. You know, 12-6, after a tactical timeout, they said this is the moment to pull out the judge. But imagine if that would have happened 6 rounds before. I think we would have seen a difference. No, the Devastators with, again, a pretty one-sided victory. But I think the story for this game was completely different from what we saw on that first game of the day on Freeze. I would say that the Devastators, well, they had 2 players, like we mentioned, Jet and the Chamber, that were on a completely different individual level. And I'm just looking at the stats. Yes, they are on top of the scoreboard. They both had 5 first bloods. You know, that's just 2 of your players getting 10 first bloods in a 19 round map. But overall, I think the space they were making, the utility they were using, I kept on watching Lennox on the defender side, updrafting to scout and generate information for his team as much as possible. And I think that was the main difference, especially, you know, we wanted to see Swerve's Reina shine from the Tigers, but unfortunately, he was neutralized time and time again by the great duo of with that in mind, a 13-6 victory, and the Devastators, we said, they made a statement, Kyra.
They made a huge statement there, and I mean, I don't want to call it Cairo, but we did predict them, right?
Yeah. Do you know something to take away? If I'm taking anything away from this broadcast so far, is that Echo is always right.
Yeah, clip that, please. If you're in chat, clip that and save it everywhere.
Echo is always right, and you know, we were hoping again for a close game. It wasn't the case. 13-6, and honestly, after looking at some of the rounds that the Tigers won, they were really, really close. They could have went in the favor of the Devastators. This could have been a way more dire scoreline than it was.
Yeah, there were 4 or 5 rounds there that easily could have just been flipped. Just like one missed bullet, one footstep that was just slightly too loud, a piece of utility that was just off of the mark, and everything honestly could have switched. That first half especially, I think it was an 8-4 at the half, but it was so much closer than an 8-4. And I mean, honestly, I loved the way both of these teams playing. Their fundamentals, like we were talking about on the broadcast, were so clean, but it just came down to the Lanark stiff.
Is he your MVP for the series?
Yeah, I think so. Like you're saying, it's not just the duelist headshots, it's not just the duelist capability, but it's like using the updrafts, using the cloudbursts to gain those little advantages that we don't often see from duelists. Sometimes they are just kind of like, all aim, go kill. But they were using their duelists in such more interesting ways, which is exactly how you win it out. And yeah, they've got my MVP for failures.
Pyro, I have to agree here with Echo. Like, statistically, I don't think I remember seeing a Jet, not even in pro play, using the updraft so much. It feels like every single round you would see him flying somewhere across a nice corner or a pixel peak, just get that extra information for his team, both on defense and on attacking side. So yeah, I gotta go with Lennox MVP. What about you, Cairo?
Yeah, I mean, I think Lennox 100%. The way that they were able to dominate that match in terms of fragging out and just creating space for the team. But I want to give a shout out for Diketsa on their luck, because so many times through mid they were just causing problems and distracting the main the players from the main push, or even catching players off when they were too focused on the main push. But while I'll give it to Lennox, huge props to Diketsa on that one.
Speaking about this whole playstyle, Lennox up front, jumping and making space for the spear as the spear of the team, and the chamber on the lurk. Do you think that now that teams have seen this playstyle and this tactic, which happened time and time again, it was quite repeated. It was it was a pattern that it worked, so they didn't need to change it up. But do you think, Echo, that this is going to become quite a telegraphed way of playing a map as Icebox, especially now that you've shown that to the world on stream?
I think telegraphed, yes, but it's also one of the best ways to play Icebox is having that one player, whether it's your Viper, whether it's your Chamber, whether it's someone else sometimes as well, going on these lurks. We saw people like Nats pioneering it 2 years ago on Icebox when it got first released, and these little lurks that, like Kyra said perfectly there, whether or not it's to actually distract from the main push, or whether it's to find a perfect timing because everyone else is so focused on the main push, that's a brilliant way to play Icebox. But I do hope that everyone at home who's watching, they managed to kind of gain some information of how to play that lurking playstyle, but also how to adapt against it, because there were some perfect moments from both sides of adapting against the lurks. So I think that's what we want to see people picking up for the future games.
We had 4 teams today, Cairo. 2 winners, of course, and 2 runner-up, or 2 losers, sadly, to call them that way. So who do you think was the team that stood out the most to you?
I mean, honestly, I'd probably throw it back to the first game with, is it Luxina? I can't remember.
Luxina.
Yeah. Well, how they were able to perform, I think, in general, how they had procedures in terms of, hey, if we lose sight, let's send these 2 players to main. You know what I mean? The fact that they were so set up for everything that was coming their way, and they had that overall macro idea, I could tell why they had reached a championship level team. They really have been coached well there. I think that's the biggest part.
Well, it will be interesting to see how all of these 4 teams' seasons will progress as we are now ending the final Valorant broadcast for British Esports for 2022. But the teams will have plenty of time to play in the next few weeks and practice and get in all that experience they need for the beginning of 2023. So before we finish the stream, Echo, do you have final words or shout-outs you'd like to?
I mean, honestly, shout out to everyone who played today. We saw some brilliant fundamentals, and that's what this comes down to. That's one of the things that these players have been so good at, and that wins them not just rounds, but entire games, is those fundamentals. So shout out to the fundamentals of Valorant. Good job. But also, just thank you everyone for watching. Kyra.
Yeah, 100% have to echo Echo's thoughts. Lovely kind of plays all across the board, and I have to shout out Echo. It's been the first time me and her have been on the broadcast together, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you so much to both of you. Everyone at home, if you enjoyed Echo and Cairo, you can go right about there and follow them on their socials. Give them some love, especially as it was the first time we had these two amazing people, duo together. Valorant for the British esports, and I think they did an outstanding job. It was our pleasure to have them there. As for British esports, what can you expect happening in the next couple of weeks? Well, for women in esports, Overwatch 2 has finally reached the round of 16. That means the final stream right here on British Esports Twitch channel of the year will be the grand final of the Women in Esports Overwatch tournament. So stay tuned for that. But in the next coming weeks, we will have some League of Legends and maybe some potential more surprises every single Wednesday at 4 p.m. I was your host, Wax, and it was my pleasure to be here today. I want to shout out all the teams and the players today. Obviously, this talented duo, the Observer, Jacko Cass, and our phenomenal producer, Elliot. This is the end for this Wednesday, but we will see you in less than 7 days. Stay tuned, and never forget, also stay hydrated.
I've been to heaven. I've done my best and my worst, learned my lessons. No matter how hard my life would treat me,